My name is Dustin Kelly, but everybody calls me DJ. I'm prior Army, serving as both a Ford observer and a military police officer. I've spent the last 14 and a half years as a police officer and detective in a large metropolitan police department. Two things that I've learned throughout my career. One, everybody has a story to tell. And two, the best stories are true. This is the DTD Podcast. Hey guys, welcome back to the DTD Podcast. This week is a special show. We are at our secondary location. Sometimes we call it the bunker. Clint Bruce let us come in here. Today we are going to be interviewing not only Mohammed Sulaiman, we're also going to be interviewing Lauren Ungeldi. And they have come together to make a book called Flying the Tyrant. It is an amazing book that tells the history and kind of the ups and downs of what it was like to work under a totalitarian regime and to come through it in the end in a whole new setting and a whole new environment and learn how to reinvent yourself, which is what we talk about on the show a lot. I want to start with you, Lauren, and I want to talk about why you decided on this book, because you've written numerous books, but why you decided on Mohammed, why you decided on this topic, and why it was important at this time.
Sure, that's a great question. So the story is actually quite interesting. My first book was for a company commander in the Iraq War. His name is Jeff Morris, and together he and I wrote Legion Rising. And, you know, after the book, he did some podcasts and some interviews, and he's talking about a story on air, and Hamidi Jassim, he was a young teenager at the time when things were happening, and he listens to Jeff's previous interview, and he says, that story you told when you're on Haifa Street, and you went and saved that young group of guys, teenagers, that was me. I listened to you describe it, every single detail. He said, and I got chills. He said, that guy who was holding my arm, he said, we had our gear on, we didn't see each other's faces, we didn't exchange a name. You saved my life that day, man. And Hamidi Jassim, he wrote The Terrorist Whisperer, which has now been turned into an Amazon short series. So these guys are friends. And after a while, Hamidi is great friends with Mr. Sulaiman. And so Hamidi just one day out of the blue, it goes on Instagram Messenger, hey, Lauren, I think I have your next book project. That was it. Okay. What do you mean? And he says, how about, you know, the former pilot of Saddam Hussein? Let's tell that story. Let's shake it up a little bit, give a different perspective, because we have heard so many times of the American men and women, their side of the story here. But what about the inside scoop? What about behind the curtain? And I found that quite fascinating. I set up one phone call. Within the first phone call, his kindness, his positivity, his view on life, I thought this is going to be a good ride. And it was. I mean, ever since the beginning, we had a wonderful connection. We worked well together. We told the story well together. But for me, it was quite fascinating. This isn't a story about the merits of war, about politics. This is really about humanity. And that's where I shine. That's where I come in, is I want to highlight the person. I want to highlight the story. And, yeah, the rest is history, basically.
Well, what's interesting about you to me, because we both know Jeff, that's how we got introduced to each other. And what I've noticed about your books in the past, you have kind of come through a metamorphosis as your writing career has taken off. In the beginning, you were very gun-shy to put your name on it, to be known as a woman who is writing these stories, a lot of different things that you don't do anymore. And you always talk about why people are important in your books, why their stories are important. And I've always been interested in speaking to Jeff and you on the phone and stuff of why it took so long for it to become the storyteller to be important in the story itself.
Sure, of course. And I mean, that's a deep question, and one that I have talked about myself. And, you know, my self journey, there has been a progression, as you could say. You know, when I wrote the book for Jeff, I was full-time actually running a health and wellness clinic. I was seeing 7-8 clients a day. I was balancing family, but writing had been a passion of mine for, over a decade. And he said, what about writing a full-length book? I'd written a short piece for him before a speaking event, and I just done a quick interview with him. He and I clicked so well. And I said, okay, I'm going to work my ass off. I'm going to do this because this is actually what I want to do full-time. And after the launch of his book, I was able to sell my clinic. I went full-time into writing. But, the part that you just highlight is an interesting one. First, there's the female side I've done a lot of books for Navy SEALs, commanders. It's several military-based books, except for one project out of 8. I've worked with all men. And when Jeff's book, right before it goes to publishing, he gets a call. And there's a very, let's say, famous author who read the story and who writes in this, let's say, genre. And he says, Jeff, the writing is incredible. I can't believe it's this girl's first book. It's amazing. But, women, it's not generally as well received for, quote, serious books to be written by women. It will be better if you cut her name off. No one will ever know. Nothing she can do about it. Put mine on there, and we're going to sell a shit ton of copies. And Jeff called me. Jeff's a good man. And he says, hey, this is the situation. He said, I've always told you I'm going to level with you 100%. He said, I told the guy flat, no. Not doing it. She's putting her name on the book. She's putting her face on the back of the book. And even right before publishing, I was like, I could just put my initials, LC, so that it's not obvious I'm a woman. Right. And he said, get your face. He's like, stand up, get off your ass, put your damn face on the back of the book. This is Jeff, And I did. That launched my career. 100% launched my career and has brought me to where I am today. And some really exciting projects still coming up on the horizon, too. I'm working with Bibi Aisha from Time Magazine. She's the Afghani girl sold to the Taliban. It's a young woman. But what I went through, let's talk about the psychological part a little bit, is that there was a time that I was more comfortable with actually putting in the work, being behind the scenes, and right when the spotlight comes on, I make my exit. I disappear. I let someone else get out there. I let the light shine in their eyes, and for a while I'm okay with it, because it's more comfortable for me. And then I got to the point in which I think some people have a trouble dealing with failure. Others actually shy away right before success. And that's something either mindset you have to break. Both can be negative. A fear of failure and a fear of success can both be something that you have to work on.
Well, don't you agree? They're kind of one and the same.
Absolutely. Because if you have a great success, I think what we don't realize is then that the bar is set very high. Now you're playing in a new game, and your performance needs to be even higher. And for those of us who like to achieve, like to perform well, do not like to disappoint, we want to play in the game we can control. And, then I got really to the point where these thoughts went away. And I want to rephrase that. They don't go away, but you learn to say, I'm going to stand up. And I have 3 daughters. And you know what? Yes, when the spotlight comes, I will stand strongly up there and say, I am proud of my work. And I want my daughters to see that. I want all the generation of women to say, yes, you can write serious books, let's say. And this is important for me to do. And I've become more comfortable in telling my story as a storyteller. I have my own personal things I've been through, traumas I've been through, things I've overcome. I'm a private person. But there's a little piece of me in every book I write. A little part of me that I have my own catharsis in the writing process, a little part of me that's healing, a little part of me that's strengthening, a little part of me, my mind expands, something I learned. So I believe I become a better person with each one. And
and when you say that, when you talk about your writing, this is a question for both of you, and we're going to jump kind of right into it. If we're being very serious with each other and we're being very straightforward, the culture that you come from is not big on putting women in the spotlight. And so it's a very interesting, I use the word dichotomy a lot, it's a very interesting dichotomy that you would choose each other to write the book, mostly because guys are more, they feel closer to a man if they're telling the story. They feel they can open up and be a little more vulnerable maybe. How is it that you two work so well together? Because I've told you already, it's a fantastic book. It's a fantastic story. The emotions really come out of it, of what you're trying to explain. And that's very hard to do when someone else is putting your words and stuff into play. So let's start with you, of why you decided on Lauren, just like why I asked her why she decided on you.
Yeah, actually, I came from like a very open-minded family. And actually, I choose Lauren. She's very like, I feel very like happy with her, to talk to her and tell her all my stories. And I feel really comfortable with her. So as I told you, we came from family like open mind. We are not radicals like as a cultures. My father he finished his flying school from England, and first wife actually was a British lady from England, but they get divorced. Then he came to Iraq. So that's combined between me and Lauren, my writer.
And I agree with that when you say that you weren't radical in your thoughts.
Yeah.
And that was really interesting to me in the book about your father, about how he took the time to tell you he wasn't a religious man. And he even, I'm going to probably mess up the quote that he says, but he says that he shouldn't be afraid of hell or the promise of heaven to know how to be a good man in the time being. And so when you take that, it's so different from what everyone else has heard about stories out of Iraq, stories out of the Middle East, about someone with a temperance that he had. In your whole career and in your whole life of raising your children and all of that, how much does your father come through in you? Because I know at one point, and I'm sure still today, he was your hero.
Yes. Actually, it's like a chain, like whatever, like we grow up with the family, as I told you, like a very open mind family. So this is like, this picture I have to also give it to my kids, like, like a chain. So also as well, like my wife, like the same situation.
So with your father being what he was, at one point he was Secretary of the Air Force in Iraq. The question that really came out to me in this whole book was, and I talked to you about it a little bit, when I look back on it and I look back on your career and I say, without your father being who he was, without the family that you came from, is your life anywhere near the same that it actually turned out to be?
Sure, it's going to be different completely.
Okay.
Yeah, because I follow like line of my father. As I told you, as I said in the book, when I opened my eyes like in the airbase, so I was surrounding with the aircraft, and I see my dad, my father, like wearing the flying suit and uniform. I see him, he's like sparkless, like, so that's why, like, when I finished high school, I didn't apply with anything, straight ahead to the Air Force College.
Yeah, and I guess more of what I mean with that question is, as good a pilot as you were, and as known when you got to the VIP squadron, as young as you were one of the most requested pilots. Without your father being that backing, and you being as good a pilot, do you think the same things come in front of you, or do you think that you have a different kind of flying mission? And the reason I ask that is because once we get into some of the battles that happen and stuff, there were other pilots going out on different missions that you weren't necessarily a part of. So with that, do you think that you would have gone to the VIP squad, or do you think that you would have done completely something else, staying in the flying world?
Yeah, actually, first of all, like, my father, he put me in the VIP squadron because he was, like I told you, like Secretary of Air Force and Army Aviation at that time. But actually, to be honest with you, I was deserve this position.
Absolutely.
To join a VIP squadron or to be a VIP pilot. Because, when I applied for Air Force College, I fly by myself. But my dad, he's just like, as a safety pilot, he said next to me or behind me. So actually, I love to flying. Even like comparing with my friends, the same age, the same level, I'm exceed all the pilots in the squadron in hours. Like most of them, they have like, as we say, like I'm like more than a triple time then. And to be honest with you, one thing you have to. I have to consider it. The airplane should be, you fly it, not let the airplane take you.
Okay.
So always they said, even my father told me, okay, treat the aircraft as a lady. So try to guide the airplane. Don't let the airplane guide you. Otherwise, you kill yourself. So, whatever, like a toy. So most of the pilots, they didn't do these things exactly. just, I see them. I fly with many pilots. When they're flying, like, their tension, even the stick, the yoke, you can handle it like this. But sometimes they twist it like very hard. So they start swearing, like, why that one? Just smooth.
Okay.
Yeah, this is like power steering. It's not like a big, heavy truck.
But do you think that's what makes the difference in a good pilot and a great pilot?
Yes.
Is knowing when. Because
Yes.
if we're being honest, there's a lot of times where you could have gripped that stick and in the things that you were involved in. With your father, he also has a history. He was part of the February 8th revolution. He was thrown into jail. He was given missions that he refused. When you look on that and you look on your career, is that what helped you guide to know I'm doing the right thing, or at least I think I'm doing the right thing? Knowing that he stood against his government at one point and refused orders that he felt were immoral.
Yeah, actually, at that time, like Iraqi, like unstable at that time. So many revolution at that time after the king, like in 1958, Abdul Karim Qasim is he like make that revolution, 14th of Tammuz they call it, on July. So he received Iraq to lead the Iraq. Then after that another one. Then after that another one until we ended with Saddam. So I mean the situation like unstable. So and my dad actually want to like just like you want to give something good to the country. You want to like get like a good person to lead this country. So that's why he said like he stand beside whatever who like get better life, better lead for this country. Yeah.
Well, he even spoke out against Saddam. I mean, there were times where you said, please be quiet, things could happen to not only us, because your mother's cousin, his whole family was killed for speaking out. Mm-hmm. When you grow up in that kind of environment where someone is not afraid to say what they are, I want to kind of compare that against your mother, who seemed to me like she played more of the supporting role for the entire family, encouraged everyone along, and did what needed to be done on the backside because, quite frankly, she was devastated by events that happened to her later on. Yet she never lost the heart and the courage to let her husband, her sons, chase after their dreams, even after what happened to your brother, and we'll get into that a little later. I want to know how you feel about your mom. When you think about her and think about how she encouraged what you did, how does it make you feel these days?
Yeah, definitely like feel like sad about my mom, about whatever the situation she go through it. But it's still like my dream to be a pilot. I'm born to be a pilot. This is my blood. So that's why. So I don't care what happened. Let me just make up my dream, like just make it true. That's it.
So with your mom though, and her kind of playing that background with everything that happened to your brother, and I guess we can kind of get into that right now. There was a bomb in his plane. It exploded while he was in the air. When he hit the ground, he lived for 3 hours after that. But when you look at your mom and see what she went through, because you talk about it later on, when you see your mom and everything that she's going through with that, I know that you were born to be a pilot, but is there ever a switch in your head that goes, maybe that's not the right thing, or maybe I should go somewhere else and be a pilot, or maybe I should do something else involved in flying? Is that ever crossing your mind watching your mother go through this?
Yeah, at the same time when that's what happened, that's accident, like my mom lose my brother actually. So I start like looking at her like really like very sad about her situation, and also I'm very sad about my brother. But I mean, the life is not gonna stop. Just keep going. So just like pray for him, and that's it. I mean, sad, but what are you gonna do? I can't do anything. If I can do something to get him back to life, I will definitely do it right away.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Even if I kill myself, okay, just make my mom happy to see him. So that's, but I can't do it.
Right, and I understand that, and that's a good point, that there's nothing that you can do about it. But I think that if you talk to 90 out of 100 people, they're going to get an idea in their head that maybe there's something better, maybe there's something safer, maybe there's something. And that's what was great about this story with you, was that it didn't matter what happened. And believe me, you went through a lot of stuff. It never stopped you, and it never took that love of flight away from you, even at the very end of the book when you talk about it again. So as you go into it and all of the stuff happens with your brother, you're flying, you go to the VIP squadron. Now, how old are you? I was thinking you were like 20, 21 when you went to the VIP squadron.
Actually, I wasn't 23.
You were
22.
Okay,
About
22.
23.
Very young to be on the VIP squad. Very talented pilots. Like you said, you had a lot more hours than them.
I stay for 6 months as a ground school for this aircraft. Then after 6 months, we study like systems of that aircraft, which is Jetstar, emergency limitation, do many tests for that one. Then after 6 months, start flying. The flying is all the same, but it's like a new aircraft. You have to know the systems. You have to know where is the switches, where is that instrument happen, like emergencies, like system 1, 2, 3, like phase 1, phase 2. But like when I fly, first time I fly, he trained me like Colonel Musa. He was wing commander at that time. So first time when I fly with him, he told me, "Did you fly just before?" Imagine, within 3 hours and a half, I got solo.
3.5 hours you went solo.
I got solo.
They trusted you that much.
Yeah. First time I fly with him, he went to the back. So just he want to give me like trust, yeah. So I thought he went to use the bathroom at the back. But I look at him, he's sitting on the seat, like back there, like by VIP cabin there. He let me by myself. This is first time, not even 30 minutes out on this aircraft. I'm still like young, because from prop engine to 4-jet engine.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's a big jump, like.
That's a huge jump. Also, if you crash,
Yeah,
he chose a very bad position to sit on that plane.
Yeah. So as I told you, within 3 hours and a half, I get solo.
So with pros and cons of it, as I'm writing my notes, I'm writing down the pros and cons, and I write these down. And tell me if I'm right. Pros of being on the VIP squadron: travel opportunities, you're fed very well, the money is very good, the gifts are very good. But then I started writing down the cons, and I thought, I'm going to need you to explain how you overlook some of these things. Number one, death. And I don't mean death from crashing a plane. I mean death from doing the wrong thing in the air, not getting someone to where they needed to be, because this is not a normal pilot program. Constant stress. You even at one point say fear is your constant companion. Long stays away from your family, whom you loved very much. How do you take those things, especially number one, and compare them against the pros of it?
Yeah, actually, like, I didn't think about any bad situation as like a critical situation. Even the VIP, when they get inside the aircraft, they obey the pilot, whatever they said. Even Saddam Hussein. One time Saddam Hussein, he like sent a letter for all the ministers in the whole country: don't involve with the pilot job, whatever they tells you. That's happened after his brother.
I was going to say.
Yeah, 2 times.
Cussed you out a couple times.
Yeah, about his brother. That's happened. And actually, I told you because I love the airplanes more than ladies.
Enough said.
Okay, so you love the airplanes more than ladies. When you go up, though, when you're flying these guys, because in all the stories that you wrote, let's talk about Saddam's brother for a minute. He told you, I think, at one point that he would kill you if you didn't get to a certain spot at a certain time.
Yeah, I can look at his eyes, like he start like his eyes, like goes like calls them back, like he want to eat me, like he want to jump, like just like a lion.
Right?
Yeah, but you have to obey it. So, that situation, like you try to handle the situation. So I told him, okay, we can land over there because it's like small like. It's not airport actually, international airport, like small strip, like they call it. That one just for emergency landing, they use it. So nothing there, no nav aids over there. Just like they call it beacon, like NDB, non-directional range. That one, only that one. So it's very hard to get the runway or the location with this old instrument.
Right.
So. But sometimes actually 2 times it happened with this guy. Another time, like to Saudi Arabia. Remember that? Yeah, actually that's another one, like the same person.
Okay.
When he take like letter from his brother Saddam to King of Saudi Arabia King. So he get to the aircraft, but still we don't have permission to cross the border.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah. It's
that is in the book. That right.
Yeah.
Where you have to wait, but he's telling you.
It was holding.
Right.
Yeah,
okay. Go ahead.
He sent one of. So when I didn't start the engines, like, so because how can I fly? I don't have permission. So he sent one of his security. He said, "Why you didn't like start the engines?" I told him, "Okay, we don't have permission." He's telling him he went back to him and he came back again. He told me he wants you. I'm talking. Oh my God!
And this has already been another flight where he told you. So
I told my friend that I would go there. Like, you're gonna know, you go. Okay, because he's a hot temple. This guy crazy. Yeah. So I went. I told him, sir, because we don't have permission. He said, which kind of permission? I told him to cross the Saudi border, like they call it flight region. He said, oh, people, they're waiting for us there. Come on, fly. I said, okay, fly. So I fly. I almost arrived the border. So I established contact with Saudi Arabia. They told me we don't have permission for that one. Hold over RR. They call it RR nav aids, like VR over there. So I start holding more than half hour. So he sent his security again. Why they keep running at the same point spot? Because we don't have permission. If you cross the border, they're going to shoot us with rockets, or they fly another aircraft to take us down. Then he shut his mouth at that time.
But he didn't listen to you at the sandstorm. The sandstorm is scarier to me, actually. I mean, you're flying directly into a sandstorm. We don't have sandstorms here to fully grasp this situation, but let's be clear, we should not be flying in it.
Not even like 20 meters. 20 feet, you can see nothing there.
Yeah.
Fully like sand.
Now, I know you said you like the planes more than ladies and you have to be calm with them, but flying into a sandstorm, I would think it would be amped up a little bit. You can't see in front of you.
Limitation in that aircraft. I didn't go like exceed the limitation because the safety first, like everything. So that's why like many people get killed, many pilots get killed because they exceed the limit. They call it overconfidence. So that's a problem.
But how do you ride that line, that safety line, and still getting the job done? Because we've already established that that's not the normal flying position. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the normal flying job. There are things expected out of you that maybe other pilots it's not expected out of. So how do you ride that line of not going over and jeopardizing, but continuing to make people happy? Because you were, once again, one of the most requested pilots there was.
Yeah, I want to answer for this one, most requested pilots. Actually, many like big generals like in Iraq, they know my father and they know me. And because my father pilot, I'm as a pilot also, so they said like, like as a chain. So they trust me because they trust my dad. Like they know he's a good pilot. He's a fighter pilot. So I get many requests because I flying, I like, go with the limit, fly safety first. And my father, they know my father, so they request me by name, like smooth flight, everything. But I want to answer also about the limitation. Each airdrome or airport has limit, depend on the instrument on the ground, and depend on the instrument on the aircraft. So like limitation, if you approach 400 feet, you didn't see runway, go around or overshoot. Don't let yourself like, okay, let's do more couple feet, maybe I seen it. No, that's dangerous. So that I go with the limitation, everything with limit. Don't exceed, you're gonna be on safe all the time, on the safe side. So.
Imagine the self-trust. I think this is one thing that I've noticed about working with him that has been interesting for me to learn about life, is that this individual right here, has a really interesting surrender to life, even under dangerous circumstances. There's some peace he has found in, as much as I can do things to control the situation, to be prepared for a situation, to make good decisions in the moment, I will do it. And then he leaves the rest up to God, universe, whatever you want to call it, fate. It's going to happen as it's going to happen. And I watch his eyes when I'm interviewing him, I'm talking with him, I'm going through these stories. As much as he can control, he says, I would give my own life if I could bring my brother back. I would do, I wouldn't even risk a few feet if I thought it was going to be dangerous. Anything that is my choice, I worry about and I execute. And then the rest I'm peaceful about. And I noticed in myself, like, interesting, because I'm worried about a lot of stuff I can't control. Really, I am. But he made some deal, some peace with his situation, even in the face of a lot and I think his threshold for danger is high. I think some individuals are just born this way, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and also I want to tell you about, it's not only like my oldest brother killed during that war, that's where they put the bomb inside the aircraft. Actually, I have the youngest brother also, he eject. He used to fly Mirage F1, a jet fighter. He jumped in a parachute because like he has engine fire. But not all the time like ejection, right, to give you safe, but many damages do for you, like in your spine or many things stuff. Because when you get out of the airplane with the seat, go to 24G. Like imagine your weight 24 times. So that's most of the spines like go disc, hernia, or damage, or get like. Or you're going to pass out. Mm-hmm. So if you have a heavy wind, and one of my friend, he ejected, but like high wind, but he passed out at that time because all the blood get up from his brain. The pressure to drag him until like kill him completely, his face done, kill him. But even like my brother killed and my other brother eject, but he lands safely because he's very tiny, short. So, but the flying is still going on.
So do you fear death?
Yeah, but still like.
Well, let's talk about it, because, that's a very simple answer to a very complex question. I don't think if you just say, yeah, I'm scared of death, there's a lot that goes into it. Your threshold for danger is very high. The things that you've done are very dangerous. You could die at any moment. More than just are you afraid to die, how do you look at it? Because you definitely have a different approach to it than a lot of people. You've said it numerous times just in this conversation. If I can handle it, I can. If not, that is you would say, a very different way than a lot of people look at life and death. Yeah. So can you kind of put us into that mind state of how you get there and what you do with that?
Yeah, actually, death could be happen anytime. Could be like death happen while riding a bike, while driving a car. It's not only aircraft, but to be honest with you, aircraft is more safe.
Okay.
More safer to drive a car.
I don't know if I agree with you on that.
If you know how to deal with it.
I think he has incredible self-confidence. If he's behind,
yes, exactly,
I think if he's there in the driver's seat of any position in life, with the things under his control, I think he just has a tremendous amount of self-confidence in a way that I don't think many people do.
Well, do you think sitting in a plane that someone else is flying, how do you feel about that?
Your life in someone else's
Sometimes,
hands.
I go like as a safety pilot with other pilots. I go there.
Let's just
But
talk
they-
about the
they-
flight here.
But do you feel the same sense of calm when someone else is flying? Are you still so calm when
Yeah,
someone
but
else
I'm
is
watching
flying?
him. What are you doing?
Ah,
Exactly.
okay.
I'm watching him. Like
Yeah.
one time I was like I was like
Backseat driver,
So, yeah.
backseat flyer.
Yeah. So
I was safety pilot with other pilots. So during takeoff, we have they call it V-bar, an artificial horizon. That one goes 12 degrees. So when you take off, take the aircraft 12 degrees above the horizon to climbing. Somehow happen with this V-bar goes up all the way, He start pulling the aircraft to get that V-bar, like that aircraft V-bar attached with that one, they go together. But that V-bar starts going up, passing 12 degrees, 20 degrees, 25 degrees, passing. He keep chasing that V-bar. So I took the aircraft and push it forward. I told him, what are you doing? He said, I'm chasing the V-bar. I tell him, something happened wrong with the V-bar now. It's passing almost 25 degrees. Look at the speed. So that's during takeoff. If something happens, stall, you don't have enough height to recover from the stall. So that's airmanship, and that's like, what they call it, as you said before, confidence, like airmanship, like you have to get it very fast. It's not like concentrate on one thing and leave everything. He chasing the V-bar, but he forget the speed. It should be like your eyes, like look around all the time. Check V-bar, speed, VSI, like vertical speed indicator, altimeter started climbing over until also engine parameters. You have to also to look at it. Don't go over red line. Red arc or like overheats. Many things, many things. To be honest with you, the most dangerous is a takeoff, not landing. The most dangerous in aviation is takeoff because you use the aircraft, you start from low speed to get high speed, and you use the engines with the maximum power. Right. So it might be get leak, engine fire, overheat, and even when you're climbing, if you have two engines like those Airbus, whatever those, or 737, two engines, if you lose one engine, okay, you're still like climbing with the other engine, but shallow climbing is not like as two engines. Right. But you're gonna get yaw action, like force. You have to handle it, and especially if you are like very like close to the runway. As soon as you're airborne, something happen. You have to handle the aircraft and handle the emergency. So critical. Takeoff is the most dangerous than landing.
I want to talk about something else critical. You talk about it a lot in the book, and I want to talk about the entrance exam and the paperwork that you have to do each year to stay on the VIP squadron. When you think back to it, what's the first thing that comes to your head whenever you think about that massive amount of paperwork on the test?
Tests, because they have two kind of tests. We have tests every 6 months for medical tests and the other one for aviation.
I think the one for aviation, because that's the one where you have to talk about everything, your personal life, everything that's going on. Do you think it was important to know all those things about you?
About the other side?
The people that you were turning the review in, the test into, do you think it was important that they knew that much about you?
No.
So why did they do it?
They do it because they have routine. They have like more than headache parts. Like they send them that one for the. They have to check every, because I'm a VIP squadron. They have to check in every pilot for everything. Do tests, do background check, do everything.
But does any of that stuff? I completely understand the job that you're doing. They have to be able to trust you. But there were some parts of it that seemed almost invasive into your life. Do you agree with those things on it?
No, actually, I don't agree with those.
Do you think it made any difference in who you saw there and what the human nature was of people that were actually pilots? Because I think if we're all talking, I think a lot of people can pass stuff just talking and in the way that they present it. did you see any difference in those pilots than you saw in a regular fighter pilot and anything like that? Did they seem more?
You mean, was their selection service worthwhile? Like, was this a good process to go through?
Is it a good process? But not only that, is it more of, you saw a difference in these guys? Like, this was an elite group of guys. Like, you knew you could trust them for anything. And all of that research and all of that going into it, was it worth it?
Yeah, I trust, like some pilots is good, sometimes some of them no. So I trust with a couple like pilots, okay, but it's not worth it actually.
So were there pilots on the VIP squadron where you were like, I don't know how you got here, I don't know what, because I think that's in every job and every facet of
Yeah,
life.
I'm gonna tell you, like, you know, sometimes we have like high VIP. It's not like Saddam or like his family, like, but it's a high VIP, like his brother or one of the family members, like far second cousin, whatever. Those, you know, they came like other pilots, but it's higher ranks than me, higher ranks, but they don't have the same hours I have.
Right.
But because that's VIP, so they try to make him happy, so they go high ranks, take him. But I go with them because my squadron leader, he told me, okay, go as a second pilot with this person. Like he's colonel, I was a captain
Right.
at that time. I swear to God, he didn't know how to use the INS, like with GPS, how to put the coordination.
That's not a good
swear
sign.
to God, like, you know. And
Does that bother you when you get in? And he goes, yeah, I don't know how to do that.
It's bothering me because, you know, this is a VIP, like high level VIP. And he tried to make him happy, but actually they send him like a pilot. He don't have enough hours. He don't have even the experience. So he this person requests a captain with him, not a co-pilot. He's a captain. Just a name captain, but actually they send captain.
Right.
Yeah, so I fly with him as a safety pilot, as a co-pilot. But I do everything. He just like handling. I swear to God, he's shaking. When his land is shaking, he starts swallowing like, you know, he's look at this. He's like bite his teeth and boom, like heavy land. It's a good land? Yes, absolutely, sir, it's good land. But it's like
So I think a lot of people would have trouble with that. In a job that they have, we'll take even writing for an example. If someone who doesn't know how to write, someone who doesn't know how to put things together, and they come on there, how do you deal with something like that? I understand that you have to smile. That's the very upfront, forward answer. I smile and I just tell them, okay. How do you internalize that and make that work and keep you still happy flying?
Yeah, as I told you, like sometimes the position like control everything, but they didn't look for the knowledge or the background or like the experience. So we have to deal with it. So what are we gonna do? Like he's a high rank. He's like my like second after squadron leader.
But is there anything you tell yourself, like,
Yes.
I just got to do this, or I just have to do
Yes,
this?
I pay more attention than when I was by myself.
Just pay more
But
attention.
I don't know what he's
That's
doing.
it.
Pay more attention,
That's it.
okay.
Yeah, because I'm looking for there.
Death might
I'm looking for
happen.
him. What are you doing? What are you gonna do? Like, you know, so. more
So
nervous.
when do you jump in on that, though? When do you let your knowledge overtake his seniority?
Yeah, I start like talk to him nicely, sir. This one should be like this. Oh yes, yeah, sure. Okay. You know that one, sir. If you go like 5 degrees to the left, okay, because GPS tell us. But I'm telling you, like, you know, yeah, okay. Now we should like start descending. I'm like he's like a student with me, so okay, I start descending. I tell her, da, da, da.
Do you ever think, like, this guy's such an idiot?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, we've talked about him a lot, but Lauren, I talked to you on the phone before this, and I have to understand something, and this was kind of my biggest question during the whole book. You hated Saddam, correct?
Yes, actually, because he damaged the country. The country go to Iran war after that, Kuwait. Damn, people die or kill people for no reason. War, just war. I'm in a situation unstable. I don't like him.
Okay, so we can agree at a base level you don't like him as a human, as a person, as a leader. Every which way we look at it, he's not a good guy.
No. As a VIP, I carry him as a VIP.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
When he's a VIP and when you're flying him, how do you justify that in your own mind? You hate him. You hate what he's doing. He savagely has done things that you know about, that you talk about in the book. Murdered people brutally, had people killed, gone to war, all of these different things. How do you justify that in your mind flying for him?
Yeah, actually, I put in my mind my father and my family. Always I think about them. Then I deal with this person. So I deal with him smoothly, whatever he needs, whatever. Like, I just close my mind just to carry this person from this place to this place. That's it.
Okay. But does that ever come back on the backside?
Yeah, because, like, I don't want to, like, let my kids, like, never ever going to see the father, or like my dad is not never gonna see me anymore. But yeah, I consider my family and my father, you should be like, stay with them. So I run the mission smoothly and everything perfect.
Does it ever come back in the end, though? Now that it's all said and done, do you ever look back? I don't know if the word would be regret, but do you regret what you did at all with him?
What do you mean exactly?
By being a VIP pilot, to fly this man who you knew did these things, and to shut everything off. And I'm not saying that's not the right way. By no means am I saying that. What I'm saying, though, is in your mind, do you look back and go, man, that probably wasn't the best guy to fly for. I could have done other things like that. Does that ever happen to you?
Yes, because sometimes, like, you didn't know who's coming. Just VIP movement, that's it.
Right.
You never know,
Right.
Saddam or other person or one family. So when I see him, he came, oh my God. I start getting nervous.
Right.
I don't feel comfortable to fly with this person, with this man. But I'm a pilot. I have like a mission. They give me orders. I have to follow the orders, do the orders as supposed to be. That's it.
Looking back on it, I told you that we would talk about different missions that other pilots had during this time period. I want to talk about the Battle of Al Fall. Numerous chemical weapons attacks. There were numerous bombardments. Almost 100 tons of chemicals were used. When you look at something like that and look at what those pilots had to do, the bombardments and things like that, we know that you disagree with the stuff that was done to people during that. If you're not in VIP and you're a bomber pilot, a fighter pilot, in your mind and in your insides, can you do those missions?
Actually, many pilots, they just release the bombs. Sometimes they send them to bomb the city, and even Iran. It's still like innocent people. Get away from the politics between the two countries. So many pilots, they release the bomb away from the. So if I was there to do the same.
With that being done like that.
Chemicals like very critical situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's no number, but we know that people were killed from it.
But it's war like between Iraq and Iran. They use that chemicals weapon. If they didn't use the chemical weapon, they took over the Iraq.
Okay.
So they use chemical weapons actually during between Iraq and Iran war, especially when they get very hot battles. They use that chemical weapon. But many pilots they didn't release it in the right place, like in the target. Let's we say they want to go to this target, they use it. They want to use it in open area, away from the city, away from people.
And still walked away with a
they find
less
them,
sizable.
And they find them, and they took them to give them a bigger problem. They find them,
and so
they tell them there's something wrong with with the system, like it would get released by itself. He did something, but he's scared.
Okay, so
could be killed about that. Yeah, like he could be kill you about that situation.
absolutely, but you think about that, okay? And he says something went wrong, it malfunctioned, it dropped early. That can only happen once or twice, and then they stop believing you that your planes are malfunctioning. So, in talking to your friends and stuff, how did they get around that kind of stuff? Because there were 100 tons of chemicals were dropped. That's a lot of bomb runs.
Yeah, it's my friend, like, you know, he knows, like, many people, connections, so they try to dismiss this situation. But he's scared.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about my favorite story of yours. It's the summer of 1987. You're flying the Minister of Commerce. Now, let me lay out this flight plan just to set up the story.
Good one.
You have Baghdad to Sana'a, which is in Yemen, Sana'a to Aden, which is also in Yemen, Aden to Djibouti, Djibouti to Mogadishu, Somalia. You don't believe in superstition, right?
No.
Okay. But after talking to your neighbors that morning, it doesn't.
I believe it.
You believe in superstition now. Okay. So
Yeah.
I'm going to let you run on this one. I want you to tell the story, the feelings that you're going through on it, because this is amazing. By the time you get to the end of this trip, the things that you've done, I'm just going to set it up. You wake up in the morning, it's time to fly.
Yeah, so I left my house at that day. I saw my neighbor, like, hi, good morning. I hear, like, you know, sound give me, hi, good morning. I said, hi, good morning. Oh, my God. I know she's like a witch.
Okay, so your neighbor's a witch. Okay, so...
Yeah. So I tell myself, you know, all the time, like, my wives tell me about them. Like when they do something, when they look at something, immediately something happen. I tell them, don't believe that. So... But I keep it in my mind. Actually, I didn't realize what had gonna happen, but I go there. So then after that, I start connect everything.
Okay.
I told her, oh, my wife, she's right. Like, so I get to the airbase, my airbase. Okay, prepare everything. Take off. Take this person. So take off above Hashmiya, they call it area, south of Iraq. In south of Baghdad, about 50, 60 kilometers, about 40 miles. I hear boom, like an explosion, and you see all the initiator panel of the engine number 2 is like completely red, which is that's the main hydraulic, bleed air, everything there in the system, and that's engine. So engine fire, indication is engine fire. So I do all the drills, normal. You want me to go details or like?
Yeah, well, and even more to that, why it was so important that there was engine 2 that went and things like that.
This one, because it's engine number 2, is close to the fuselage, so they don't put like more pipes to get to engine 1 or engine 4. So that's system, like the manufacturers, like that's normal. So anyway, so I do drills, everything, fire, all this, like sequence. I control the fire. Already established contact with the tower because I have overweight fuel because I'm going to go far. So that's overweight 10,000 pounds extra. So the limitation of the aircraft, it should be like get away from that 10,000 pounds fuel as a jetson, like drop it in the air. But one of the stuff you can do jetson if you have engine fire, if you are over the city, and if you have like CB cloud next to you, close to you, could cause a fire. So I'm over city, I have engine fire, but no CB cloud.
So the whole list, pretty much.
Exactly, 2/3 dangerous situation. Anyway, so I tell my co-pilot, I'm gonna do jetson. He told me, do you know we have engine fire? I told him, I know, but we like completely I switch all the fire extinguisher. I control the engine fire, stopped. So I established contact with the towers. So I tell him I'm gonna do jetson. Just look over behind the aircraft. It's like black or like white smoke. If it's black smoke, that means still the fire. I don't catch the fire. So white, okay. So he told me white, okay, completely until get on circuit, same like airport, and turn it off on final, very short final, but still overweight, about 3,000.
And we know
but
you don't push the
10,000.
limitations though. Yeah.
I have to land soon. I don't
Right.
have to wait and to lose that one.
Right.
So I land there and change the aircraft, get another one, and fly to Sana'a. Normal. Fly to Sana'a, then to
Okay. Oh, hold on. Not normal.
Not normal.
You landed,
Okay.
and within 2 hours, you're back in the air.
Yeah.
Most people would call it a day after an engine
Yeah.
fire and put the
Have a
plane
glass
down.
of bourbon and say tomorrow.
You were with the Minister of Commerce. There was very important meetings that he was going to.
He's very, very scary. He told me, what's happened? What happened? He's like, send his security, to the...
Does anybody ever not send their security to ask you? Does anybody ever come up with the
at him,
VIPs?
like her face is like yellow, yellow, like scared, like everybody.
So you land within 2 hours. You're back in the air.
It's my feeling top.
You're good.
My feeling top. Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing
Okay.
changed.
Okay. Nothing changes. You take off. You land in Sana'a. No really problems after the first engine thing. Sana'a to Aden. No real trouble there. Short amount of business. You get back on. Now, just between these 4 spots, how many hours are you in the air right now?
Just to Djibouti, like maybe 6.5.
Okay, 6.5 hours. What is a normal threshold for flying for a day? Like here we have.
Limitation is 11 hours.
Okay.
Actually, from your house, since you leave your house until you land. So let's we say you left your house at 9 a.m. and your mission at 12 midday 12, and the mission it takes you more. Let's we say more than 10 hours, so you don't have to fly, but we fly.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's air law.
Right.
Yeah, they call it duty hours for the pilot,
Right,
11
right.
hours. But we are VIP pilots. We with the President Arafat one time 72 hours and never got sleep. 72 hours, 3 days in a row.
Okay, we're going to get to that in a minute. I need to ask, though, on the air restrictions, after an engine goes out and you land a plane, how many hours are you supposed to fly after that?
With the
With everything that happens, because I would normally think that they would pull you aside, have either a debrief or, mechanically what went wrong with the plane. Anything like that happens before you take
that's
back off.
6.5 hours. I told you that's endurance hour.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like ground hours, whatever. That's only in the air.
That's only in the air. Okay.
Yeah. But actually, it's more than that because we have to go to the aircraft, put fuel, check flight plan, check the weather, check the route, go like operation room. I have to check all the maps, all the NOTAMs,
Right.
like whatever happened, like in my route, whatever, like go to the airways, maybe closed, maybe airways, something happened, weather, everything I have to do.
So once you get to Djibouti, you stay there for the night.
Yes.
There's a meeting there, but you're taken care of. You eat dinner, everything like that. Now, knowing that you're flying to Mogadishu, is this the first time you've ever flown into
Yes.
Mogadishu?
Yes.
Okay. So just knowing Mogadishu, red alerts go off in my head. So you have to go there from Djibouti to Mogadishu. You're flying a VIP. At the time, Mogadishu, we're talking 87, so they can't be up on their times in airport maintenance, tower traffic, everything like that. You would agree with that, right?
Yes.
So as you're coming there, and you don't talk to the tower, we'll talk about point of no return and things like that. But as you're flying there and you try to communicate with Mogadishu Tower, and there's no response back to you, does it worry you at all, or are you thinking it's Mogadishu?
No, could be like something wrong with the communication. So we have another procedure.
Okay.
So if you try to approach the airport with 500 feet over the runway, but you have to open your eyes. There's no traffic, and do shaking your wings. I mean, the tower So you have communication or radio failure, they call it. Then after that, overshoot, I go around again. I keep my eye to the tower, so they shoot flares.
A flare, yeah.
Yeah, flare. Red, don't land. Go around again. Green, usually green, because I really feel like priority for you. Like any traffic, they tell them away from the circuit
Right.
For their like airport to priority for the communication failure aircraft land. But it's not that only this way because that's Mogadishu. Even like between Djibouti and Mogadishu, there is no any knife aids in the way to Mogadishu, because all jungles, when they put like knife aids on the ground, they need like maintenance for that. So they put people
and those jungles were full of cannibals and stuff. So yeah.
So we have to do. There's no communication at all. So I have to do every 15 minutes, every 10 minutes, like they call it blind transmit on center, like whatever who hear me. Iraqi so and so level this. Okay, from Djibouti to Mogadishu, that's much distance. Time to Mogadishu. So if something happened, which is last call, whatever you hear me, so they could do searching in this area, because it's jungle, big jungle.
Yeah, it's a pretty big jungle.
After that, I keep like every 10 minutes, 15 minutes to do like blind transmit.
But you can hear other aircraft talking, right?
Yeah.
So are you asking them at any point, like, hey, I can't reach this tower. Is anybody else here?
I hear them on HF.
Okay.
Like that's range, high range, like long range, like that.
Right.
It's not VHF. So HF, I don't know, somebody maybe hear me like in England.
Oh, okay. That probably wouldn't do you any good then.
So that's an HF. Anyway, so I start approaching the Mogadishu airport. So it should be like established contact with them at least 10 minutes before that, or they have compulsory reporting point, should be established contact at this point. So I try contact, nothing. Mogadishu tower or Mogadishu center be first, nobody answered. Then change to the tower, nobody answered. I start like approaching. Even I don't have enough like fuel like to do back to Djibouti, which is near us airport at that time.
Which you didn't refuel in Djibouti, right?
Yes, I put a fuel.
Oh,
But
you
I
did?
don't full fuel.
Okay.
Because I don't want to like land there overweight.
Right.
That's like normal. Should be take fuel to your destination and 2 alternative airports. Enough, and 30 minutes hold, they call it.
Right.
I calculate it, so I know how much I take fuel. So nothing. I do that procedure, nothing. Then I came to land normally. When I landed, it's like nothing, like no movement in the airport. Only they have one airplane. They have Mogadishu like airlines. I don't know what they call it. Just one.
I think that's called Spirit Airlines.
We know where it is.
Yeah.
It's in Mogadishu.
we found them.
Yeah, they have 737, and the president, when they take it, nobody can fly, travel.
Okay.
If you take it like to visit.
So how, because I tried to put in my mind, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I have to get the picture in my head. What I picture is you land, you roll up, and there's nothing there. There's no people walking around. There's no cars. There's no traffic. There's no anything. Is that, I mean, is it just desolate?
Yeah, like I'm surprised, and I'm like, what happened? What happened? They get zombie there, like the old people. What
And that's
happened?
exactly what I was thinking when I read. I'm like,
for
okay,
sure.
this is like a Walking Dead scenario.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, so I saw 2 cars coming like from side of the dispersal, like dispersal that area, like with the aircraft parked there, towards the my aircraft. I'm still like taxiing. So they came, they stop. So I opened the door. I see like the people, like it's not like look like Mogadishian like people or Somalian. It's like us, like Middle Eastern.
Right.
So I realized they're from the Iraqi embassy over there. So because they know we are coming, they do communication
Right.
already. So I tell her, what happened? Why you came, guys?
They ask
What
you
do you-
why
yeah.
you came here?
Yeah, why you came here? Yeah. He had letter from Saddam like at that time. So I told him, why? Why didn't you come? He told me they have military coups out there. What?
What a day.
And yeah, like when I turn off the engines, I can hear all tons of machine guns because it was 4 engine on. I opened the door, he jumped, I
Right.
didn't hear anything.
Right.
Boom, 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 like this all around there. So what am I gonna do? So it's all like two people stay with us, and the other they took to the embassy. Then I find some. Do you want me to continue that one?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So I saw like a person that came from other side towards the aircraft. So I said, hi. So guys, what do you need? You need something? I told him, yes, please. I need fuel.
I need to get the hell out of here.
Yeah, he told me, we don't have that. They call it the Bowser, like a bigger truck.
Right.
That one. He told him, we don't have that one, but let me see him. I think I can give you like those big barrels, which is like 225 liters. It's very heavy. But they have like a two-wheeler, special two-wheeler for
Right.
that one. I told him, okay, show me, what do you have? So I went there. I read with my flight engineer. It's Jet A1, which is perfect. That's because they have different kind of gas, like as for the piston engines. So I tell them, they're perfect. Okay, let's do. I don't remember like how many barrels, 20 barrels, my 15. I remember that.
Well, it was 8 hours of manually refueling.
Yes.
Um,
No, and manual, like,
Also, I will say, as someone who's not
Like
in this
pumping.
world so much, it gave me an idea of how much fuel we're taking.
yeah.
He's telling me this. I'm imagining the barrels and the barrel size are quite, in some ways, large.
were they like
Eight-
50-gallon
8
barrels?
hours. 8 hours you're refueling this. Like, that's a lot of fuel.
Yes, yeah.
But your
and
hand
like-
pumping
Yeah.
it, right?
with
Yeah.
the hand and all like fuel like on my shirt.
And
like
I
smell
thought
like,
about that when I was reading too. Like, okay, what do you smell like
Yeah.
on the flight back from
Yeah.
Mogadishu?
Fly to Saudi Arabia when I live there, I'm like a mechanic guy.
Right, yeah. So when you do that and you take off, do you believe in superstition now?
Which
As you're taking off from Mogadishu, do you believe in superstition now? Or are you like, okay.
It was the neighbors,
when-
the witch.
yeah,
cast
exactly.
the spell.
So actually, I start thinking about this whole story. I go back, like in Mogadishu when it happened, that's military coups, and like see myself like a very bad situation, like pumping fuel, like machine guns everywhere, like bomb everywhere, like everything upside down. I told my wife, she's right about those people. She's absolutely right. Anyway, so after like put the fuel, I tell him, okay, he established this person to contact the embassy, bring the minister. So immediately run. So when takeoff, avoid the city to the right. So low level and go immediately jump to the water, like over the water, so fly. I go deep, I start climbing over the water, then past Mogadishu about 20,000 feet, which is away from Strela and those like machine guns or like what they have,
Right.
like unless they have SAM, they call it,
Right.
surface to air missiles.
I'm doubting
SAM
they
7,
did
that's
that.
different, but they don't have it.
Yeah. So not
So
worried
fly
about
to Jeddah.
when you do a mission like that, and I want to ask you too, when you do a mission like that, does it bring you more alive? Because some people, when they do things like that, they say they never feel more alive than when they're doing that. And then when you hear something like that, after he's done, when you hear something like that, and you're not in that world, like you said, how do you feel? Do you feel like you haven't lived your life as much as some other people? Or so we'll start with
Let's
you.
go with you first.
How do you feel on that? Do you feel more alive? Do you feel just happy to be alive? Or is it just
like
a
new
day's
life.
business?
It's a new life.
Okay.
You have to keep on, keep on, keep.
But are in the moment, are you excited? Does it
Yes,
feel like
excited,
your
like
life
to
has
pass it.
purpose?
Yeah,
and-
excited how to handle it. I'm like very, very I can tell like proud of myself
Right.
about to pass this, to handle this situation. Other people maybe handle it in a different way. Maybe he get it worse. But I was nice with this person. I try even give him money, but he don't like to take the money with that one. So I told Iraqi embassy, try to give him money. I have a couple like dollars, like I want to give it to him.
So was he Somali that was helping you out?
Somali.
Okay.
Somali. Yeah.
And so you don't, I'm guessing you probably don't know what happened to that guy after all this was
I
over.
don't know. Just I want to ride away from this.
And so going to you, how he
Yeah.
says it's just another
Sure.
day, he lives it.
Sure.
When you hear something like that, because I got to tell you, a lot on this show when I talk to these guys and I hear
Yeah.
the things they've done, and
Yeah.
even the stuff that I've done in life, I go, man, I haven't done anything compared to this.
In
How do you
comparison.
feel when you're writing something like
Yeah.
this about these kind of stories?
So, it's interesting. I'll say in my first book with Jeff Morris, we were dealing a lot with trauma, and the things that he witnessed, the things he went through are extreme, right?
Right.
He normalizes it because we all normalize whatever situations we've lived in. And, when we were talking, I several times I said, I know I've not been through anything like what you've been through, Jeff, but, and I went on to say something that had been a personal situation I had been through that was traumatic. And he said, when I speak all the time, I have people come up to me, or rape victims, or a firefighter that tried to save a child that burned, different really dark things. And they always say that. I've not been through anything like you've been through, but, and he said, and this has always stuck with me, he said, it's my belief that in some ways it's all relative. He said the trauma that a woman went through when she, maybe had sexual assault, he said, I don't think it's actually more or less than what I went through. It's just different. Having said that, let's translate that into a happier answer to this question about what it means to truly live. Have I flown a plane, into Mogadishu? No. Have I done that? Few have.
During a coup.
During a military coup d'etat? No, I have not done that. And in that sense, you could say, yeah, okay, you haven't really lived. But I will say that in my own way, I've done skydiving at 1,300 feet. I've gone peak to peak mountain climbing as much as I can in my world. I'm taking risks. I'm pushing myself hard. I'm doing it because in some ways for him, it's another day on the job. For someone else, what I've done in my life, going to that many countries, doing it with my children and traveling, living in jungles, living by volcanoes, this kind of stuff, I've done it all. They might say that's also crazy. They might say I haven't lived. So it's really a progression of perspective, I think, certainly. Doing what he did is not my forte, let's say, but I think we all in some ways, if we're really pushing ourselves, have that feeling, that comes at us like that. So
What I like to tell myself about it is without you, his story is never told.
true.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
you're not living that life,
Yeah.
but definitely no one hears about that life until
Yeah.
you can put that perspective
Absolutely.
and light
This
on
is
it. And
true.
I think you would
Yeah,
agree with
I
that.
was thinking, to write all my stories, just keep it to my kids, like
Right.
in the future. Like
Right.
Every time I tell my own, next month I start, next week. But, I get busy.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to tell them about it. They know most of the stories, but I want something to document it, But until I find a beautiful lady to
And on
write
this,
everything.
I'll add one more thing that sometimes I'm working with, almost all my books have been with someone who's lived something quite extraordinary,
Right.
And what I notice is that most people in some way normalize what they have been through, whether
Okay,
it was
yeah.
a very difficult childhood, whether it was trauma, and I see this especially in military men, there's this dark sense of humor especially that goes along with it. They're cracking jokes about near-death experiences. A buddy's shot and is bleeding out, and they somehow are making it, normalized in a situation that isn't normal at all. And I think, you asked earlier, I'm a woman, I'm writing in this arena. It seems like an uncommon setting, but I think there's and at first I was worried, maybe if I was a 40-year-old, male military reporter would be better suited to this than me. But what I learned is that when you're in the world, you kind of drink the Kool-Aid, so to speak. You're also normalizing the situation. I'm coming in with a very pure mind. I'm listening to the stories, and I remember when Jeff and I were working together, he said, sometimes when I'm listening to your words inside my mind, he said, I understand for the first time that what I lived isn't normal. And he said, I see the extraordinariness of it because I'm seeing myself mirrored through your eyes, not mirrored through the eyes of someone else who also sees this as a normal situation, this much blood and combat, but you're seeing it through someone who, and this is the bridge that I have to, let's say, the American people and to the world, who's the audience, the reader, is I have the foot in the world that I'm inside someone's mind. I'm seeing it how they're seeing it, but I'm also looking from the outside and I'm noting the extraordinary nature of it. I'm taking note of that heartbeat that's pounding right now. Those hands have to be sweating right now. You know you have to be feeling this way, and maybe even they're not aware that that's what was happening in the moment because they've disconnected. But when I am putting myself into their character, into their mind, into their body, I'm feeling these feelings. I'm noticing them. And I remember Jeff said, he said, I feel like you crawled inside my mind. It's the weirdest thing. You're saying the stuff that happened and was there, but I didn't know how to describe it. And I'm making that for the other people that maybe haven't lived these lives. This is what I do as a writer, is to bridge the gap, to make it something that's understandable and a connection point, authentic, to where his story, he's telling it like it's nothing, right? He's telling it like it's another day on the job. But we all know how he had to go through this. And so that's my job, is to get behind his eyes, see his perspective, and then also look from the outside and give the American people the ability to connect with it, to see the extraordinariness of it.
Well, and I think, Mohammed, you would agree, too, that when we talk about this, you say that you can look at it with fresh eyes. But let's say someone from the inside does do it. Yep. Not only are you saying they drink the Kool-Aid, but I'm looking from my perspective, a bias. You could look at that person and go, they didn't do anything. That is nothing compared to something other. And I think you lose a step in the writing when you do that, because you're using your own opinion and what you've done against it, which I think that. Now, with being comfortable telling her stories, is there at any point when you're talking about this, because you are very personal about your wife, your kids, leaving, all of that kind of stuff, is there ever a point where you're uncomfortable with it?
No.
Not at all?
No, at all.
Okay.
Yeah, like when I tell her all my stories, like, to be honest with you, to my best friend, I'm telling those my stories.
Okay.
Yeah. But sometimes when I tell her the stories, like, after hang out with the phone, like, done for the one, then after 2 days or after 3 days, I remember more stuff about this mission. But, I tell her it's not like, not everything 100% would happen exactly. I tell her maybe 70%, 80%, 90%. But sometimes I remember stuff which is make the story is more.
By the way, this is always how it goes. And so I have an open thing with the people that I work with. I give them contact information. I give them an email address. I don't care if it's 3 a.m. You can email me and brain dump. I call it brain vomiting. Anytime you want, when the content comes. Because, the ghostwriting process goes like we spend time together in person, anywhere from 1 day to, 3 days. I do intense interviews and I scope out the book. Then we're going week to week or bi-weekly, in which I'm doing interviews for one specific chapter. But when we have that, let's say Monday call at 10:30, they do their best, they tell the story. But especially if you're working with any kind of trauma, you cannot plan for when it comes up. You can't plan for when, oh yeah, that part. Oh yeah, I didn't remember that until I went through it in grave detail. And so in those situations, the text comes at 10 p.m. or at 3 in the morning at some point. You have to, if I'm going to work closely with someone on these types of books, it's a 10-month intensive. And it doesn't always fall in business hours. And I remember with Jeff's book, he would laugh. There was the late night Jeff text after he'd had one bourbon, in which he could better articulate, let's say, maybe especially the psychological aspects of what he went through. This is normal. This is how it goes.
And that's what I found with mine. When I talk to these people, I'm not writing down their stories, but I'm trying to record their stories and look at it from a fresh perspective. You and I have talked about how I look at it from a psychological standpoint. Yes. With this, what I've found, and I want to ask if it's the same for you, what I've found is that people will say stuff, and I'll get the opposite effect. In a day, they'll go, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Or
that's also true too.
Maybe that's not something that should be floating out there in the world.
We have the benefit of it's in written words, so we can just go on our little document and do a copy of, these 5 articles, and then we just delete them. Before his book went to publishing, we pulled a chapter. Before Jeff's book went to publishing, we pulled a chapter. Almost every book I have written, when it comes to sensitive information, it's almost always in regards to family. One woman pulled a story of sexual assault. And multiple times it has to do with a divorce or an ex or something that has to do with children. In all the books I've written, almost always that's the chapter that gets pulled right before publishing. And this is where I'm different than a reporter. I'm not here to get your juiciest details and tell the world I'm a very safe space. I have children, and I value their privacy. I value my family's privacy, and I think it's important to be delicate. And so if someone says, I don't want that about my ex out there, or, I thought I was ready to tell the story of being raped, but I'm not, I will never push someone. I don't believe that publicity is always a good thing. And I will also say the media is vicious, and you really need to have some thick skin and be prepared for what you're going to put out there, because if you want to go to comment sections, really people rip other humans apart. And so if you are not prepared for that, if you're in the middle of a healing process or journey, if your family's trying to mend, just because I know the reader will love it, and I've pulled some stories that the reader would love because it's juicy and it adds some element to it that's going to make it really interesting. But these are real people, these are real, and I never lose sight of that. So I always encourage discretion, actually. But yes, people always pull stuff right before publishing.
When you talk about your story and we talk about Saddam, I want to kind of come back into Saddam a little bit. And the reason I want to come back to him is because as we get a little further in, you've flown for him. There's been numerous things that have happened. You've walked in on him dressing. You have been – it's a weird feeling when I read the book of almost – and that's why I ask you so much, like you don't like him. At any level of a human being, you don't like him. But maybe it's due to your writing, maybe it's due to the way you told it, but there were some points where I saw where he put his hand on your shoulder and told you good flight, or he made you feel, I guess the word is more special that day, or that you were maybe a better pilot than you thought you were that day. When all of that comes around, I want to talk about when you see stuff like that, when you see him as a human being. Let's talk about when you walked in on him dressing and you see not the man, not the dictator, not this brutal person. You see him as a human being like very few people have ever seen him before.
Yeah. Actually, Saddam, when he was happy, he's a very nice person. When he's mad, don't approach him. So which one do you like? Start with the CM.
Yeah, let's talk about when he was dressing, because I think that's the most. Yeah. I know it's almost the most superficial story, but I think that
strange. Saddam in his underwear for me is a weird, even for me to consider this.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you like exactly that would happen. I was taking him from Baghdad. Should be taken to Mosul, north of Iraq, but there is like construction. They try to do the more extended runway. Do some like maintenance of runway, so it's closed, the airport. So the nearest airport was Saddam Air Base, which is...
it's always nice to land at your own air base.
Yeah, about exactly 50 kilometers. US kilometer over there, but around maybe 30 miles south of Mosul. So anyway, I land there. Nobody knows, but when they land Jetstar, like the VIP, usually the... like airbase commander and wing commander, whatever those high ranks, they came to the VIP.
Right.
Maybe high ranks from the Iraqi Air Force headquarters, maybe high ranks from the Iraqi army, maybe minister, whatever, like VIP. So I land there, then they came, airbase commander and wing commander, I know them. So they waiting by the door. They opened the door. The flight engineer opened the door, and waiting because first time they closed the door for the cabin, for the VIP cabin. We have door here and other door, so they close it, like has Saddam and with couple security with him. So I tell my friend, and outside they're waiting for him. So I tell my friend, this is Kilo Alpha. We have the registration Kilo Alpha, the last one. I know that's Kilo Alpha. They have a problem with the door. When they close it, it's very hard to open it from inside. You have to open it from outside. So I tell this Kilo Alpha, yes, it's Kilo Alpha. Oh, probably the door stuck. So go open the door. No, he told me, no, you go open. No problem.
Not it.
Because something wrong. Like I know this door.
You try and get a lot of friends to do a lot of things that they tell you to go do yourself.
You're the captain.
You're the captain now.
That's when the rank's important.
Yeah.
So I went there. Like I opened my seat belts and like harnesses. I went there, open it, something stuck. Oh, because yes, it's stuck that door. Something might happen. So I knock the door, then I open it hard, like I try to open it and push it hard. So it's open, like almost more than halfway open. I see him, he was like with underwear. He tell me, hey, wait, what are you doing? Hey, like, you know. Oh, I told him, I'm sorry, sir. Like, I thought like the door get clogged or jammed, whatever. Like, so something wrong with the lock. Then I close it. I went to the cockpit. He told me, my friend, when he did that, shh. He was like changing, like, I don't know, he was in underwear. So he told me, why open the door? I told him, that's happened, like something wrong with the door. What are you going to do? Then he opened it. He opened it. He came here wearing Kurdish uniform.
Yeah.
He was at that time. He was going to go up north. Visit up north. So he wearing the traditional uniform for Kurdish.
What everyone is used to seeing him look like. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think he has videos about that. Yeah. I was taking him to the airbase. So he came to me. So he told me, why are you in a hurry, man? And he's smiling. And he tapped me on my shoulder. I said, I'm sorry, sir. Like I thought like the door, something wrong with it. It get locked from inside. I tried to tell something, just keep me on the safe side. But he was happy at that time. And he gave me at that time, like, which is 2,500 Iraqi dinar, which is, imagine my 8 times my salary.
Wow.
Yeah.
For that flight.
For that flight.
When you walked in on him.
Yeah.
Did you ever think to maybe knock on the door before you tried to open it?
No, actually, I knocked and I opened it together.
Okay.
At the same time.
Okay, I can see how that happens then. So as you see him, once again, like we said, like a lot of people have not seen him, does that, I almost hate to even ask like this, does that make him more human?
Yes, actually, when he was happy, he's normal. Actually, with the pilots, he's very nice. With the pilots.
Well, I mean, when you walk in and he's just in his underwear, does it take that almost mystique away from him, that where you look and you go, that's just a normal guy? Like, he does horrible things, but does it
He
ever
does
trick your
horrible
brain?
thing for the country, but with us, he's very nice, very polite with us. Even when he walk into the aircraft, he stopped by the cockpit. They say, good morning, how are you? How's your family? Doing well? Are you need something from me? No, sir, okay.
Did you ever say, yes, you need something?
No,
Okay.
sure.
Also, when he's asking about your family, I don't know how much information I would give him about how I don't have a family. I just fly.
No,
Right.
yeah, just everybody.
Yeah, everything's good.
Everything's
Thank you,
great.
thank you.
Everyone loves
Thank
you.
sir. Thank you,
All
sir.
right.
Yeah. So, another time, if you can, I want to do one more story about Saddam, and then I want to talk about as we see him later. And the reason I ask you about, do you see him as a different person? Because I think there was a point in your life where you did see him as a different person. But can we talk maybe one more story? I would like to talk about when you flew to Habaniya Air Base. No leaks can be done there. It's a very, very secret meeting. There's only like 3 of you where the information could leak. And they always say if you want to keep a secret between 3 people, kill 2 of them. So that is a very important meeting, but also it's very important, I would think, from reading the book, to your career and to you and your personal connection with Saddam.
Actually, at that day was on Thursday, because we have like weekend Friday.
Okay.
Right. So it was on Thursday, and it should be my friend go with that mission, but he lived in Fallujah, like west of Iraq, about 50 miles. So he take off like 2 days a week, and he stay in the air base. They said like, there is like a special mission, VIP mission. He came to me like that was around 12:30 for 1 o'clock, sometime afternoon exactly like. So he came to me, he said, Mohammed, would you please take my mission? because I want to go to visit my family. I told him, okay, no problem. I love to fly, actually. But I didn't know that's mission, actually. So they prepared the aircraft. Boom, Saddam. He suddenly jumped in the airplane. He was wearing a suit. He usually wearing a military uniform, but he wearing suit at that day. He get into the aircraft. Hi guys, how are you? So, but just only by himself. So we are waiting to come, like security with him. Nobody.
So he has no security with him at all.
Yes, he came security, but the security stayed in.
Okay.
Yeah, he jumped in the aircraft by himself.
Okay.
So he told, that's it, just me. Close the door. So he said, do you know where you're going? I told him, no, sir. He told me, go to Habani Air Base. I told him, which one, Habani? Because we have lower base and top. One of the hill, on the hill, and the other one on down. He told me, 100 miles. 100 kilometers away. So I take off, start engine normal, take off normal. It's very short, distance. I didn't climb that much, not even 6,000 feet. So I started climbing, start descending. So I established contact with the Habani Air Base. The controller, he said, you are clear to land. Wait. First established, then he told me, call me 2 minutes, call me 5 miles away, something like that. He told me immediately, tell me, you are clear to land. Okay. Controller said that one. So I came normal, land normal, touchdown normal. He said, but I see aircraft, far, it's a big, air base. He came to me, he told me, just park next to King Hussein aircraft. But at that day, the air base is completely dead. Even I tell Lauren, even you can't see birds even.
Even the birds need to clear out.
Did you worry it was another Mogadishu?
Anyway, so I go taxi aircraft King Hussein. So I came to the right of the King Hussein aircraft, which is G4, G3. It was the aircraft.
And what are you flying?
I fly Jetstar.
Okay.
Yeah. So open the door. He starts, get down. So 2 people, they came from the other side, but I can't see them because just to see half,
right.
Just to see the legs, 2 of them. They came here, and Saddam start walking towards them. So they came here, and after past the nose of the aircraft, King Hussein aircraft, I realized it's King Hussein and Israeli Prime Minister. I get stuck now even when I see that one. Even when I try to. So imagine at that time.
Nothing can happen now. We're in a safe space now.
Imagine at that time. So I get panic, for a minute. Both of us. Just we look for them, they start shaking. I tell my friend, did you see what I see? He told me yes. They shaking hand together and with King Hussein, they're smiling. And they went to the aircraft inside, King Hussein aircraft. They stayed there about 3 hours and a half, almost 3 hours and a half. I don't collect the time because it was confusing. I was my brain just circling around. What happened? What's gonna happen?
I just want to interject. Are you, because in all these stories that we've talked about, you've never been nervous or anything. Yeah. Are you nervous now?
Yes.
Okay.
Because
more than ever.
It's a top secret meeting. Because I know Saddam, if he did something and he don't want to know anyone to know about this situation,
right.
He killed that person. That's get rid of that person.
Right.
Whatever
Right.
Cost, whatever it's cost. So I start thinking what's gonna happen. So many things. We just said my friend, he passed away anyway 5 years ago. So what happened to us? What's gonna happen? So after 3 hours, 3.5 hours, they get out from the airplane. They start walking in front of both aircrafts. They came to my aircraft and they go back and forth, between 2 aircraft. They walking together. King Hussein and Mr. Rabin and Saddam Hussein. And they're happy. I can tell the faces are happy. Then after that, they stop in the middle. They shaking hand and hugging each other. He came to my aircraft, and King Hussein, he went to his aircraft. So he get into my aircraft. He said, go to Baghdad International, which is Saddam International. It's not my air base to land there. So I told him, okay. And he told me, you go first. So I start the engine. I establish contact with the tower. He told me, okay, go ahead. Go taxi to runway so-and-so, 24, and take off. Go to Baghdad. But I'm confusing, I'm flying, but at that time, my brain, right, I'm flying, I'm seeing the instrument, but I don't know what's going on exactly. But I know I'm heading to Baghdad International. That's only I know at that day. So I land there. He came to the aircraft, I opened the door. He came to me, he told me, he said, both of us, he put his hand here, both of us. So, guys, did you see something? Immediately, I told him, no, sir. He told me, good, guys. And also, he gave us money.
It's funny though how.
So, but at that day, when then I take off from Baghdad, I land in Muthanna Air Base. So, but it was like a weekend. So a Friday, I didn't go for work usually. I go on Saturday, which is like Monday here. It starts our day on Saturday. So, all the time we talk together like pilots. What was your mission here? Who's talking? I told him it's nothing like VIP. I don't know who is that one. He went to Habaniya, they know we're going to Habaniya. So because controller, they knows everything about that. I don't know who's that one. And waiting for him. I try to just swallow it. I don't want to tell the story exactly.
Right, yeah.
Then I look to my friend. I tell him, when I said that one, he's like, look at me. Don't did something wrong. But my friend is supposed to be fly with that mission. He was visit his family to Fallujah, the same way to Habaniya, same. He tell me, you know what? When I get home, it should be taking him an hour. I tell him when. He tell me take me 11 hours to get there. I said, why? What happened? He tell me all the highways, the road completely closed. I don't know what happened.
Did you say I don't know what happened either?
He told me I would stay here and take that mission is better than me. I told yes, absolutely, but I don't know. So I start thinking about it every time. When I try, I want to leave the air base to get my home, I look around. I tell somebody gonna follow me, somebody gonna kill me, somebody gonna do something about that because the situation, So even when I get home, somebody ring the doorbell, they came to me. Until after a month and a half, or maybe 2 months, I start live the situation. Okay, it's okay, nothing happened, but still I keep it in my mind. But I get less worried about the situation.
So how good does it feel to be able to tell that story not only to Lauren, but in this open we joke about it a lot. A lot of people will hear this story, other podcasts that you do. How good does it feel to be able to go, I did this. I couldn't say it then. I walked around for a month and a half thinking I was dead. Yeah. How good does it feel now?
No, it's completely different. Yeah, I feel actually this is this situation, it should be everybody know about this stories, what happened exactly back in the day with VIP. While I'm serving in a VIP, what happened? Something top secret. I have to tell everyone here. Should be everyone know about the situation. Many people, the politics is completely different than humanity. They are friend, enemy, friend, eye to eye, and they shaking hand under the table. And who pay for that? The people, innocent people pay for that.
I'm glad you brought that
Yeah,
up.
definitely.
Because here's a question that I wrote last night when I was thinking about everything. How important is politics? I mean, let's get really down to the bare bones of it. We talk a lot about what is allowed, what's not allowed. They talk about alcohol, cigarettes, pornography, sex, things like that. But when people have looked over the stories that have come out of, let's just say, Uday and Kusei, and the horrible things that happen in clubs and to females, how important are really politics? Or is that just the picture that we paint for the world to believe that there's a cause behind that? Does that make sense, or do I need to?
Well, it's more explain like exactly.
So-
I didn't get it.
What it is to me, what I'm asking you is the politics that they talk about, being religious, being a good Muslim, being all these things that are carried forth and were carried forth in the global war on terror and everything. When they say it's all of these things, how important are those really? Or is that just something that they say to have a cause?
No, just something to have a cause that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by all means, you've written the stories, so
I mean, I would say that's definitely true. I think mostly humans are fairly simple creatures, and we need something to unify us, and we need something to keep us together in clusters in human organization. Once upon a time, we saw it based upon religion. We've seen it based upon empire. We've seen it based upon nationalism. We've seen it based upon political party. We need some blacks and whites and who we belong to, who we are for and against. I think generally most humans need it, actually, to prevent chaos. But, and I think the masterminds that understand this give a reason. They create blacks and whites and some divide between, the thing where you can, live in this world that makes everything clean. I will say that in this book, it definitely broadened my perspective. In the book I'm currently writing for Bibi Aisha from Time Magazine, her experiences of being with the Taliban, me doing research into that invasion, and there's so many things going on. But then to me, one of the most not talked about parts of it was the drugs, the drug industry, the money that was there, how huge, the children were being used for labor, and some unsettling things, let's say, even that involve our own government on how some things were handled. Is drug money a part of this? There's something to at least be researched there, let's say. I can't say with certainty, but my idea of it just being, this is this side and this is the bad side, good side, and one person being absolutely blameless, and I mean this as a nationality. I think there's more good on some sides, but unfortunately you unearth at least some things that are unpleasant,
right.
Even in our own situations. But I do find most of the individuals on the front lines mostly have very pure motives and are really trying to do the right thing as far as our American military goes.
Yeah, and I believe that. I guess the one that I'm going towards is more of the Muslim side of it, because you weren't a very religious person growing up. You believed in religion, you respected, your father taught you to respect other people's religion. But when you look at it and you see the things where they talk about either Shia law or true Muslims that they dedicate themselves to it, or they dedicate themselves to a cause, when you look at things that were done with the alcohol use, with the clubs, with Uday and Kusei, with even Saddam, with these people in power, do you look at it and go, it's just bullshit? You're just giving yourself a cause to fight for when there's not really one. As much as you say you hate these things about the West, it's just bullshit. Would you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely, I agree. And I want to tell you something about Uday. Actually, one time,
Okay.
when you work with those people, with the like Uday or Kusai or Saddam, you should be like ready for everything. Like, be careful with them.
Okay.
So, one friend of mine, his name Ali, he goes very close to Uday.
Okay.
It's girls and those parties every day, like drinking, like go boat, whatever, like that one. He go close very. and he start go with Oday every day, like goes like to Baghdad, like a street of Baghdad, like that's things. He get very close friend to
Uday all day.
Oday. Yeah. One time, something happened. He talked something about Oday.
Oh.
Yeah. Imagine one of the party. That person he told me. My friend Ali, he told me. He orders security to cut his tongue.
Oof.
Yeah. They came to him with the pliers. Yeah, they told him, Oday, he's sitting there. Take it out. Take out your tongue out. So they cut it and cut it with the knife. Tip that one. He lives now in England. They cut his tongue because he talked something wrong about Oday.
But I think that goes back to the thing that we asked in the very beginning. When you hear things like that and see things like that, not only
I
are
fly
you
many times with Oday, sorry, so I was very, very be careful with him.
right.
Yeah.
But that begs the question once again, where we talked about in the beginning, where you see these things that happen, not only fear for yourself, fear for your family, and things like that, but you hear of these things, and I still try and figure out how you balance the two.
Yeah.
Is there one thing that balances it out for you, or was there a multitude of things? Because I don't think we've ever really gotten to that answer of what balances it.
Yeah, actually, I'm taking them like from place to place as a pilot. Like I fly with them. I didn't go like deep with them. So, yeah,
I guess to dig a little more though, it would be when you're taking them to these places. Some of the things that are happening when you're taking them to these places, some of the things that they're doing, I understand by disconnecting yourself because that's what you do in situations where you need to get a job done. But I can't help but think that sometime in your life that's all either has come back to you or will come back to you, thinking about everything that happened behind it. Because I completely understand what you're saying, that it's a job, you're doing it, but I also have to look at the other side. And I think in general, with you telling your story, humans in general are going to want to know that answer. Because I think that what I don't want them to pick up from it is bad about you or ill about you by saying, well, you were part of it. You were part of the problem. You were part of this. You have a very simple explanation, but is there anything more to it that people, because I want people to.
Why continue?
Why continue? Why not
keep
leave?
doing
You are, we could get into when you leave the VIP squad, when your family goes to America. There's so many different reasons that you could leave.
yeah, it's the benefit over there. Benefit and the aircrafts like it's American aircraft is completely different than Russian aircraft. VIP, like I have traveled many countries, see many people like different cultures. If I go to leave this squadron, I have to go to transport,
Right.
like just carrying like weapons, spare part aircraft, get it from France or from Russia. Different, like like truck driver. It's not like a VIP.
Absolutely.
Like driving a shuttle, like with the nice, like handsome people.
Right.
Exactly that. It's completely different.
But there, and I understand that to a certain point, but there's a point in the book where you don't have that VIP status. You're not flying that. You're literally trying to get a job that just makes you happy at one point, that just gives you purpose. You talk about it numerous times in there.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's just me that wants to know that answer. I look at it and I can't understand why you don't go. Why you don't just pick up.
Even this VIP squadron, dream all the pilots in Iraqi.
Okay.
This is dream to get to serve there.
Okay.
Because like you travel a lot, good money, good benefit, like everything perfect. VIP, many gifts you get, and the aircraft very smooth, like it's not like other
Right.
aircraft.
Right.
Dream, and I like it.
But what about when that all goes away? What about when you're not on the VIP squad anymore? What about when you're not doing that dream job? You still stayed there until like 2006.
Yeah, I decided to leave 2001, 2002, two times actually. One time decide to leave, I get like fake passport, to cross the border, Iraqi.
Right.
And second one, to decide to go with the aircraft, land in Syria. But my mom passed away, so everything.
And I completely
down.
understand. No, I completely understand that one, not leaving. But it even goes so far as it took assassins shooting up your house, leaving 3 death notes, a death certificate, everything that the normal person would go, yep, first letter, I'm out.
Yeah, for sure.
They know where I'm at. They delivered a letter to where I'm at. It took 3 letters, a death certificate, and then them attacking your house in a coordinated attack and hit for you to go, maybe this isn't the spot for me.
Yeah, actually, first like thread was warning, like I took it to the Iraqi Air Force headquarters. They can't do anything. Even I took it to American army over there. They told me we can't do anything about you. Just be careful.
Right.
It's very hard. I thought at that time they give me like stay in the green zone, like to more safe at that time, but they didn't give me that answer. So I went there. It's not only me. I get not only by myself. Like only me get a thread or warning, like letters from Al Qaeda or other organization. Right. Many pilots. Many people they get that.
Especially pilots, right?
Yeah. So they told me we can do. Just be careful. Second one, just be careful.
Just be careful,
then,
you know.
Then second,
if any weird guys show
up.
up.
Death certificate. So I told them this is death certificate. Now, what are we gonna do? We can't do anything. Then attack. After that, they attacked my house. I was at that moment. I just left my house to next door to get ice from them. And the lady told me, come inside, drink with my husband. I'm going to prepare dinner, just drink together with my husband. It's a neighbor, it's like family. Sometimes
it's not the witch.
Yeah.
No.
Different neighbor.
No.
Okay. Because
Might have had a different ending.
Yeah, I was about to say you really should stop talking to those
already
people.
Left.
Okay, good.
United States. She's here, huh?
So, really?
No, the witch followed him.
Michigan, don't worry.
He said hi to her.
Yeah.
He gave her a phone call this morning on his way here. So they attack the house. You take the pictures. You show everything that happened.
Yeah.
And you finally leave. And the reason I want to say that is because this is how we kind of culminate your story. You come here, and it's a whole new beginning at 46 years old. You finally get out of the country. You finally talk your way through border, everything like that. You have the little passport that you say, I got a month to work on this. I'll figure it out from here. You finally go and do it. And you come here. And the way I read it, and maybe I'm wrong, you guys can correct me, nothing is the way you thought it would be. Is that right?
Yes.
Your children are safe, but your family is no longer really the family that you knew. Your children have done all this struggling with you over there. You're struggling just to survive day to day, and you flew literally some of the biggest people in the Middle East. And now you're working at a motel and construction sites and things like that, no vehicle. You got to tell me your mind state when you get here, and nothing is the way you thought it would be, especially after going through everything that you did to get here.
Yes, actually, like my family, they came here in 2004, before I came here. So after whatever's happened, like threading and everything, I came here, I start again from beginning. So I don't care. Wherever I work, whatever I do, just I want to raise my kids.
Okay.
That's main aim in my life first. Thanks God I raised them, and see, I have the oldest one. She get PA, and the second one she get PhD in infection disease. She's a pharmacist. And my son, electric engineer, he worked with the BAE system, British Aerospace Engineering System. And my youngest daughter, she started she's like, yeah, she has 2 more years to get to be a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, this is the, like, I feel like more comfortable here in the United States. I feel this like, I never ever feel like safe and comfortable in any country beside this country.
But I guess more of what I'm asking is, you come here at a certain point, you get a divorce from your wife.
Yeah.
And that whole, we didn't really get into it, but that whole relationship is a contention point through a lot of your story. I think it had part to do with the VIP and leaving the VIP. It had to do with you coming here, her coming here ahead of time. Very different backgrounds, but you come here, and now your kids are starting to be grown at this time. I think at the time they were like 18, 19, but they have done their thing in high school, now into college. But at any point, I guess I'm wondering is if you looked at it and gone, what was all of it for?
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes, I don't know. Like, what that for? Sometimes, like, the wind take you. You don't like the way to take, but the wind take you.
Okay.
The wind blowing. They take many ships away from the track. So that's what happened exactly. So,
But is there any point where you're sad or you're thinking maybe you made the wrong decisions or maybe you made the right decisions?
Beginning, yeah, like at the beginning when I came here, everything that happened, I decided to go back somewhere like, it's not Iraq, like maybe Jordan, live in Jordan or in Egypt, or I don't know. My kids, they need me. So I stay. I challenge myself. I challenge the situation. I challenge the circumstances, everything.
Absolutely.
So I start fighting for life, fighting for better, fighting for my kids, fighting for everything. So I start work very hard. Just I want to raise my kids.
I think the thing that really stuck out to me, and Lauren, I want to kind of get your opinion on it too, was that, like we talked about, you were in a very high position. You're doing the lowliest of jobs here, and never in a point did I understand in the book that it ever affected your ego.
Yeah, but the past is the past. You have look.
I get that, but and it's very easy to say the past is the past, but in the present, it's very hard to deal
It's
with.
very hard to deal, but always step forward.
Okay.
If you look backward, you're never gonna make any step forward. So that's my thinking about it. That's my aim. Always climbing. Don't go.
I'll weigh in on a hypothesis I have,
Okay.
because you're asking a lot of questions that I think are more or less going to the same thing, and this is a journey I went on for many months as I wrote the book. Same question, which is, when all of this is happening, when there's so much danger, why continue? And I understood that I am seeing being a pilot as a job. I am seeing it being a job with, as you wrote, pros and cons, right? And at some point for me, as I'm looking at his situation from my lens, my setting, the cons far outweighed the pros. This is what I can't get my mind from. Through my journey of knowing him, I understood that for him, being a pilot is not a job, it's an identity. This is what is in his blood. This is who he is. And I believe that some people are born and they have something in them. I've seen it in writers. I've seen it in artists. I've seen it in mountain climbers who will risk everything. Why? And they can't explain to you, but it is who they are, and they have to do it. And for him, this is as I see. I think the most emotion I have seen from him is when he talked to me, and I actually saw tears come to his eyes. How much I want to sit in that seat. I would give anything just to fly again, just to have the chance to be in the sky. And I think with the type of history he had, one brother is lost, one nearly dies because of it, the legacy of his father. I think the death of his mother, and a lot of that was due to her grief because of the son. I think you're also painting a picture in which you have the duty to carry on a family legacy. And I think identity and legacy we're asking simple questions. We're trying to look at this from the outside because I did this too. It's a job. How could money outweigh the benefits of death? How can this do this? This is a simplistic mindset we have. Legacy and identity are two very deep things and drive us to make all kinds of decisions. And I think bloodline, carry on legacy of father, living for someone who passed away, these are all things that are deep in us as humans. And so as he and I talked about his time in the United States, and he talked to me about it, was very difficult. Much of what he said was, there's that feeling like a loss of identity, not loss of ego. I think this man is going to be confident in any scenario he's in. He just has I want it. It should be contagious how much confidence he has. It's great, but there's that sense of feeling there, and I think he refound that in his family, as I see. He's sending me pictures of him and his grandchildren constantly. He really poured everything he had into family, and that became the sense. But I did not notice any fear of death in our talks until the situation with Saddam and the Prime Minister of Israel. That is the only time when I started noticing a difference in him saying, I was checking my front doors, I'm hearing sounds, I'm not sleeping well. These are normal things that I would have thought many previous situations would have caused. And then if you will remember in the book, he visits his family, and when he goes back, he almost dies tragically in a horrible car accident. And after that, refines this. There is life and death. There's a short amount of time. I think maybe it's the first time it really clicked, the danger setting and scenario, and really wanting to be with it next to his family again. And so I think maybe at that point, it began to overweigh the sense of identity and legacy. So these are my hypotheses, let's say.
Fair assessment?
I think it's right. Am I?
Yeah, she's right, absolutely.
Okay. So let's take it one step further then. Your new legacy, your new identity, your grandchildren, the wildly successful things that your children have done coming here, especially using a dictionary word for word, translating their homework. It's unbelievable.
Incredible.
The things that you see and where they've turned out. Let me ask you, does this identity outweigh the other identity, or are they equal?
Well, it's almost equal.
Well, you say almost equal, so what does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, depend on the person. But my kids, they are very very polite, very smart. So absolutely equal. It's going to be with my kids. But sometimes many people, they didn't realize the situation.
Because for so long, one was center stage, and now that one's completely gone because you said you would give anything to fly again. One is completely gone from the stage. Now you have this one. Is the audience still make you as happy as that other one did, or are you still trying to figure out your way through this identity?
No, just make me happy.
Okay.
Yeah, make me happy about it.
And the reason I ask is because you still have that yearning in you. You still have that yearning to fly. But I see that with your grandchildren, with your children now, you're at something that I think if you would have stayed in Iraq, let's say your whole family never left, none of this is possible.
No,
none of it.
No.
With your children
Even
being
my
wildly...
kids are not going to be educated because I'm scared to send them to the college because the situation is very bad in Iraq at that time. I mean, even now it's better, but still like struggling. It's not like here.
So I guess the way we end this is I ask you a couple questions. What has life taught you? What is the lesson that you can most take away from your life to tell to someone else?
It's a life like a journey.
Okay.
Whatever you give, you get give back.
Was everything that you went through, this is kind of the final question, was it all worth it, do you think?
Yes. It's worth it to like document it. Worth it to tell the people about it.
Do you feel proud that your story is now out there in front of everybody that can take it in? Because I'm telling you, it's...
Yes.
I've read 2 of her books now,
yes,
and this one's fantastic.
Yes, I'm proud. Actually, all like advice. Whatever, like read this book, read my stories, all these advice, give him like energy or give him like step forward to do many stuff. like it's a challenge. Like it's a challenge in my life. It's a challenge how to pass many problems. It's a challenge how to, even when I came here, it's a challenge to pass the border with Jordan. They put me there for 14 hours for
interrogating you.
Yeah, exactly. So they escort me from room to room to room, and then finally they give me the passport. They make me like just want to run from there. It's very. I went through many difficulty like in my life, but I pass it. So this is like advice. Whatever you read the books, if you get anything like difficult, if you get difficult in your life, don't stop. Find another way to pass it. Don't go back, because time is running. Life is keep moving forward. So if you didn't catch the time is gonna catch you, put you back.
Those are definitely words lived by. I'm so glad that you were here. Let's end this by Lauren first. Where can people find you? More about your books and what you kind of have planned for the future.
Yeah, you got it. So you can find me at laurenungeldi.com. That's LaurenUngeldi.com. I have my books listed there. This book, Flying the Tyrant, is on Amazon. My other book, Legion Rising, is on Amazon. Not Those People is on Amazon. And also Legacy of an Entrepreneur, which is just released about one of our early, wonderful, salt-of-the-earth, all-American heroes who came here, immigrant family, built company from the ground up, became a billion-dollar industry, passed it on to his son. This is all about how you pass business from one generation to the other, the family dynamics involved, because 75% of businesses fail during that process. That's an interesting one. I am soon to be released, one that I'm very excited about, for Bibi Aisha. She was featured on the cover of Time magazine. She was sold to the Taliban at 13 when she was severely abused. When she tried to escape, they captured her and cut off her nose and ears with a machete. And she was saved by an American military base, brought here to the United States. Over 33 reconstructive surgeries, I believe, were done by some of the very top surgeons in the United States. Her story is all about, of course, human rights, and especially female rights in some of these countries that are really struggling to give women just the opportunity for the basics of education, choosing who you marry, the right to drive, the right to live a life by your choice, and some of the difficulties that they're facing where we have some religious extremists. That one I'm very excited about, and my own podcast series will soon be launching in the next month or two, so maybe I can have you back as a guest. That'd be fantastic.
That would be great.
I need to become as good of a question asker as you are, so that's me. That's what's happening. And
anywhere people can find you on social media, anything like that?
Instagram is my biggest thing. I have really, really dormant on Facebook, and I've not acquired the Twitter scale, and I have no talent for TikTok.
Me neither.
So maybe that one's gonna come, but the TikTok, my kids do it. But not so great for me. But you can find me. Just look up my name, Lauren Ungeldi, and you're gonna find me and see my face, storyteller, author, Twitter.
Sir, where can we find you? Where can people get up to date with you? And really, I would like them to kind of follow your story from here out. So,
yeah, I have my Instagram.
Okay.
Also, Mohammed C130.
Okay.
And I have my Facebook, Mohammed Arawi.
Okay.
And we have a designated together. We're running the pages both as admins, Flying the Tyrant.
Okay.
On Instagram, that's going to be your best place to find updates about the book, because I know he's on his personal social media. He has kids, grandkids, but I think he keeps it a little bit smaller, and private, a little selective. But to the general public, Flying the Tyrant on Instagram, we're both running. We have all of our details up there, and blow by blow about the book, anything there, we're working on that content together.
And of course, on the episode page, we've talked about it on my website. All the links will be there to buy the book, to be able to connect with you guys on Instagram, things like that. Great. So anything else that you would like to put out there to the world before we end this?
I would say thank you for
Absolutely
for Lauren.
My pleasure.
For this interview and for writing a book. and thanks for everything you're preparing here.
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
Lauren, anything else you want to put out there?
I think that's it. Stay tuned. Lots of good stories coming. So.
All right, guys, that's
Give me a
gonna that's gonna be it for this week.
All right.
That's Mohammed. That's Lauren. I'm DJ. We'll catch you guys on the next one. See you later.
Thank you.